not so linear. It doesn't go in a straight line. Okay, there are so many things which keep happening in life, and most of it is, not in the head, but it's in the heart. If there is some money which I have given her to spend, she will spend guilt free. But if that money is going from her pocket money now, then this guilt comes very fast. Okay. Also, and I think it's more also to do with the culture, right? If you see the upbringing, okay, how we have as Indians, okay, we'll tell our children also, I have spent so much on you. You better turn out to be a good child. So much money is getting spent on your tuitions. You better, get good grades. Okay. So then that is where the guilt comes from. And, it's also like, it's not that even if you're doing something in life, okay, your father, your mother, your grandparents, your uncle, aunt, everybody is involved. So you are also answerable to so many people that what is happening in life.
But that true wealth, that true happiness, that true freedom of time and all, वो तो दिखता ही नहीं.
We generally keep the EMI date 2-3 days only after when salary goes to ensure that this is something I cannot default on. So also make your investment also as your EMI. So if you're doing an SIP, that will be your first priority. So first pay your future self. First your money should go for SIP so that whatever is left, then you can again, spend guilt free.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, folks, I think we are coming now on Thinkly Talks after 2.5 months, which was a long gap. Maybe, there was a idea where I thought ki I may have run out of conversations or run out of guests or anything like that. Most of, was going on in my head. But a couple of weeks back, I met today's guest, Binoli Jain, and I realized, that I've not even scratched the surface, and yet, I had gotten a little exhausted from all these conversations. So I said, let's start with the podcast series once again, and let's dive a little bit deeper into each person's ability to manage their money, to think about finances in a very different way. So, Binoli, thank you so much for coming. Um you run an exceptional, IFA business called the Money Mart. You manage more than 450 crores in assets. You are the chief emotions officer in your company. And that's what I really want to understand first. कि ये chief emotions officer क्या है? And how did you come up with this term?
So first of all, thank you for having me here. And I'm sure I can make a difference today and come up with something which is not boring. So, why Chief Emotions Officer? Okay. When we think about money, okay, most of the time people think about, a note in their hand or, numbers, spreadsheets. Okay. But there's actually money about that. I've never had a client, get up in the morning and come to me, Binoli, I want to meet you today because I want to make 15% returns. Or, because let's say interest rates have gone up and, I'm worried how my cash flow will work. People don't, think about money in terms of numbers. Okay, but people come to you saying, Benoli, I want to meet you today because I want to take that break from my career, or I want to come out, of that toxic job, or I want to plan for my child's education. So money is only about emotions. I don't think it is about numbers. And if I can, manage people's emotions and help them sleep well in the night, my work is done. So I think it's high time I call myself a chief emotions officer, not the CIO the other way.
Correct, correct. So you're basically, when you're saying ki you, what I understand is you're in the business of managing emotions rather than managing your people's investments. Is that true? I mean, that is how you look at your work.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And why would that be? I mean, just I understand, when people say कि अच्छा, cash flow ka issue hai because of interest rates and all, but they also worry about cash flow when it comes interest rates, sorry, not cash flow. They also worry about interest rates when it comes around their stocks and what is going to happen. Now, just like yesterday, Fed has cut some interest rates by 25 basis points, and everybody is talking about the fact that India में ज़्यादा पैसा है.
Correct.
But they do worry about these things, is what I'm saying.
No, no, absolutely. They do worry and they should worry. Okay. But see, but these are stories, right? Yesterday, Fed did something. Okay. Tomorrow, the Indian government will do something. So every day there will be new story, okay, new talking points, which all we will worry about, talk about, analyze, okay. But is that the end goal? End goal is to make your money work for you, okay. End goal is to take the right decisions so that your money works for you. Also, you need to know what is it that has to be avoided, okay. So it's very easy to put down on a spreadsheet that these are the products you will invest in. They will grow by 12% CAGR, and this is the amount of wealth you will make in the next 10 years. But actually, life is not so linear. It doesn't go in a straight line. Okay. There are so many things which keep happening in life. And most of it is, not in the head, but it's in the heart. So, just to break that monotony, and you need to basically get into the person's mind and understand that what is it that is going to stop him from achieving that goal. And so
Hmm.
I think, talking to people about their life, about how they think about money, what do they want from that money, is more important than saying, okay, you invest your money over here and this is what the Fed did today. And, this is how it's going to be impacting your investments. Because, let's be very candid, whatever we also analyze from these events, okay, even we are not 100% sure, right, that what is going to be happening with the investment which we've recommended today or tomorrow. But what is in our hand is in understanding the investor and telling him what he can do better to achieve his goal.
Absolutely. So when you're talking about emotions now, what you're saying is very true. The things that even Warren Buffett has said, fear and greed often, is the primary emotions. However, we've also seen, guilt. कि ज़्यादा पैसा खर्चा कर लिया, yeah, we are not making enough. So, I mean, do you see it happening?
Yeah, so I think it's happening a lot today, and that's more in the Gen Z, like so I'll give you like an example. Okay, my daughter is 13. Okay, and if there is some money which I have given her to spend, she will spend guilt free. But if that money is going from her pocket money now, then this guilt comes very fast. Okay, also, and I think it's more also to do with the culture, right? If you see the upbringing, okay, how we have as Indians, okay, we'll tell our children also, I have spent so much on you. You better turn out to be a good child. So much money is getting spent on your tuitions. You better, get good grades. Okay. So when that is where the guilt comes from. And, it's also like, it's not that even if you're doing something in life, okay, your father, your mother, your grandparents, your uncle, aunt, everybody is involved. So you are also answerable to so many people that what is happening in life. So even some bit of that guilt, culture comes in from there, is what I believe. What do you think about it?
I agree. I think, but I certainly I don't think that the Gen Z is that guilty about spending money. I mean, the way they're spending, if they're able to
No,
buy
no. So
a 1.5 lakh rupee phone just on a one tap of a finger, I really can't imagine, we were doing that when we were that age.
yeah, yeah. But you know what? When we were younger, no, we just then maybe let's say wanted to buy one thing. Okay, today they want to buy 20 other things. So if
Mm.
they've spent all their money to buy that one thing which they wanted, they don't have any money left for the rest of the things. And then that guilt is coming in that, I should have not spend so much over there. I should have saved, I should have maybe listened to my elders and, done some saving, some budgeting so that I would have money left for my other needs. So that
Mm.
is, where that guilt is coming in. That
I mean,
you've spent so often, you've not had that saving. Uh, might as well I should have, done it a little better because now that phone is over, but now I want to go for this concert. The concert is over. I want to go for that trip. So the list is never ending, right?
yeah, I agree to it because we didn't have these sort of avenues. We didn't have concerts back then, to be
Absolutely.
attended so frequently. I
Absolutely.
completely agree.
Absolutely. And it's not only concerts, even, the products we consume.
Hmm.
So, it's like we never wore branded clothes. Okay. Now our kids only wear branded stuff. Okay. The
Hmm.
cosmetics which, people are using, everything is imported, coming from Japan, coming from Korea, US, everywhere. So the overall standard of living has gone much higher. So there is a list of things you want to buy every day, and you're seeing, okay, your friends are buying this. You're seeing so much on social media, and I think social media is something which is just nudging you again and again that this is new, that is new. Why don't you try this, right? So that list is never ending. So if they are not being able to fulfill their wishes, then they get into that loneliness thing, that I am left out, my friends are doing this. So that's, I think, actually what's going on right now.
So, but that loneliness and being left out, doesn't it make that doesn't it create a very unhealthy relationship with their money? I mean, I'm just thinking aloud.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'll tell you, like, what this also does in adults, forget, the Gen Z, okay? Like,
Hmm.
I've had so many stories of clients, who've come to me and where, you see some specific traits because of which you realize that this person doesn't have a good relationship with money. So certain traits are like, you realize that this person is just spending or overspending just to, reduce stress in his life. That I have stress in my life, to reduce that stress, I just go shopping and I spend because that gives me happiness. Okay. Or the other way around, you may be having a lot of money with you, but you're still not, doing the smaller things like going for these holidays or, spending, money on small things in life because, you are just, maybe there's something in your head, which is not actually helping you enjoy life and your relationship with money, or you're hiding things from your family. There are quarrels, with your spouse or your family members because they don't know what's happening financially in your life. So, this is something which is, actually a big bit of a concern. And you come to know when you meet these people that something is wrong because, they are not happy with something in life, and that's getting translated into the family, and the relationship with money is also not stable because of this.
Hmm. That's interesting क्योंकि हम लोग को तो स्ट्रेस आता है तो वी गो ईट पानी पूरी आई मीन हो जाता है लाइफ में पानी पूरी खा सकते हो तो और क्या है
So this
Yeah.
example is in fact of a very good friend of mine. So whenever she's extremely stressed, husband is not giving her money, whatever, she's like, okay, I have my savings. I'm going to spend all of it. I'm going to shop because that's what gives me happiness. So yes, we have these kind of examples.
Hmm. So I understand. So how do they go guilt free? So let's say you have. So what do you tell your friend in such a situation? Ki, we understand that you are in stress, but you can't be shopping for lakhs, na?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, in these cases, me telling her anything also doesn't help only. Uh,
Acha.
See, because it's like somebody has decided that, this is a way of, it could be a way of revolt, it could be a way of just keeping you happy. So, what kind of advice can you give a person like that at that point of time? Okay, maybe when things are settled and the person is understanding, that, this is not the way I can behave. That's when you go to them
Hmm.
and, that time you try to, explain them. But when this phase is going on, there is no point also getting in there and, stopping them because you're not open only to suggestion at that point of time.
That is true.
Yeah, but what I, generally try to tell people, okay, or whoever, so guilt is one part of thing, okay. Also for people who really just, want to spend things, and I think there's nothing wrong, right, on spending money on things you like, nothing wrong in, buying that iPhone, going for that concert. I think we should do all of that because even my, current self should be happy, but even my future self should be happy. So how do I get in that balance today that my, I'm keeping my current self also happy and future, me also happy. So how do you, say for example, I tell this to a lot of my clients that, why don't you think about three buckets? Okay. Your one bucket is a security bucket. Okay. In this bucket, you are putting money for, your short-term needs, your rent, your bills, your gym membership, whatever it may be. Okay. Your second bucket is your joy bucket. Here you're accumulating money for your travel, for your passion, for your holidays. It could be anything which you like doing. Okay. And then your third bucket is your growth bucket. So now you're putting in money in this bucket for your long-term investments, even accumulating money for upskilling yourself. Okay. So now if you have these three buckets ready, the percentage could vary from person to person. I may be having more in my security, somebody may be having more in the growth bucket. But the best part about this is that I have defined and trained my mind that I have these three buckets ready, and now everything which I want to do in life will be taken care with these buckets. So now I can spend guilt free. Okay. I can travel guilt free. And I'm also not worried about my relationship with money because I have defined it in advance and I've trained my mind.
That is interesting, that you have trained your mind. And तो bucketing तो बहुत लोग करते हैं. I mean, पर बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि ऐसा bucket बनाओ, ये करो, वो करो. But the impact is not something that they get.
Correct, correct.
So eventually they stop the bucketing क्योंकि उनको वो impact नहीं दिखता.
No, but it's only about training your mind because I always say that investing is more about emotions. Of course, it is about getting the right products, but that's not a
Hmm.
process you have to do every day. What you have to do every day is, just train yourself. So if it's like if you ask me to spend 20,000 on a concert, maybe I may not spend. That's not me. Okay. But
Hmm.
I may tell an investor of mine to spend because they've made that joy bucket for that purpose only. So then why not spend guilt free? Because there is a
Yeah,
because there is a growth bucket which is also working for them. So
true. And if they don't have the balance of past and present and future, sorry, if they don't have that, I'm living in the now and then also securing my future, then depression में घुस जाएंगे.
Exactly. What's the point? So it's like this, we've seen our parents, grandparents always live for the
Hmm.
future, right? We will do this after, finish your studies. Then it's the younger brother who has to finish his education. Then you have to get married. Then the brother has to get married. In that, most of the life is gone. And then you never know, there could be, some disease or something which stops them from, doing what they always want to do. I don't think we and this generation think like that. So we want to also be happy and do things for ourselves. But in that thing, if we can just have a balance and also think about the future, I think it's a deadly combination.
Our generation now is very interesting. एक sandwich है अपने generation में because you are also carrying some baggage,
Yeah,
and in the next generation we are also seeing that there is no baggage.
absolutely, absolutely. I
Hmm.
totally agree to it. We are learning from our parents, and I think it's a sandwich generation. Absolutely, yes. But there is something to learn from both the generations. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's how the balance comes. So I learned from my parents and my in-laws that how to save more and like do very simple things, care for the environment, how they've always been doing. Like maybe just go down to get a Xerox, then order it on Blinkit because I will have that many steps and it's also environmental friendly. Okay, so these are certain things we are also learning from the older generation. And what we are learning from the younger generation is, yeah, also how to think about put yourself first. That you've thought enough about everybody. When are you going to live for yourself? So I think that good balance comes, if you just take the good parts of both these generations and incorporate them in your life.
Absolutely, I think, and that is the key that is required, right? I mean, you live also, you save also, and that's where, honestly, I feel we need a human touch to advisory. Wealth management or wealth advisory is not something I personally feel should be done by, I mean, on a robotic manner. कि, see, आप जो बोलोगे एक algorithm भी बोलेगा, correct? And that's when you're talking about emotions. I was
Absolutely.
reading a very interesting story. So Nandish had shared with me, Chago investor. I think Manish had put it up on the website. So
Okay.
Japanese man wanting to have a very early independence makes the
Okay.
money. ऐसा नहीं है उसको पैसा नहीं बनाता है. But eventually, what he loses out in life is quality human connections. Is because the day his fire number is reached, yeah, I have got enough money. I don't have people, I don't have a lot of folks to spend it with, I don't have experiences of life to live with. I think that's where, people like you are really required because आप बोल भी रहे हो कि जाओ 20,000 के कॉन्सर्ट के टिकट में ले लो 2 करोड़ का गाड़ी अगर आपके पास पैसा हुआ है तो हाय व्हाट आर यू सेविंग फॉर.
प्रिसाइजली प्रिसाइजली और बैलेंस रखो ना मतलब और जैसे फायर की भी बात करते हैं आई हैव अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग व्यू ऑन फायर ऑल्सो ओके
Okay.
ये व्यू ऐसा है दैट लेट्स अज्यूम कि मैंने इतने पैसे कमा लिए ओके एंड टुडे आई एम ऑल्सो गोइंग इनटू दैट अर्ली रिटायरमेंट ओके but more than half of my life is left. Okay, do I even have a plan? that what am I going to do in this second part of my life? Okay. Because all my, even if I've had a lot of social connections and friends, but they all are still working, right? So, so whom am I going to hang out with? Right. Secondly, रूटीन इज एक्चुअली वेरी गुड इन लाइफ ओके तुम ऑफिस जाते हो खुद का काम करते हो कुछ भी करते हो कुछ तो रूटीन है राइट सडनली हैव नो रूटीन इनिशियली फ्यू मंथ्स इट्स एक्सीलेंट बहुत मजा आता है ओके बट देन यू फील के यू नो व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ योर लाइफ एंड ऑल्सो पीपल इन योर फैमिली डोंट फील योर वर्थ एनीथिंग बिकॉज तुम काम नहीं कर रहे हो बिकॉज यू नो इवेंचुअली वर्क डिफाइंस अस you know whether you like it or not so that you know that's how when I look at fire that it's awesome if everybody can you know actually retire early and do what they like but we need to have a plan B in place कि उसके बाद क्या करना है even if it's just enjoying a social life जो भी है but you know do you also have thought about it that what are these 4 5 things you want to do from Monday to Sunday assuming that all your friends are going to be occupied maybe your spouse is also working
Absolutely.
and your children are going to be older they may not even be living in your house with you they'll be going anywhere to study so what are you going to do
Anyway, there was a very interesting Instagram पे there was a reel that I saw. अभी चला गया है. I was trying to find it once again. कि
हाँ
गोरेगांव या मलाड का कोई तो एक gated society है.
हाँ
So the guy goes in at around 9 p.m. in the night and says 8 or 9 p.m. in the night and says कि देखो मतलब ये पूल है, यहाँ पे कैंटीन है,
हाँ
कोई नहीं है.
क्या करोगे
No, nobody is actually enjoying that wealth
करेक्ट करेक्ट
that they have, and it was a Saturday night. So like, there's no activity, there's no people. Nobody's enjoying the wealth जो उन्होंने बनाया है. So you may become rich, but that true wealth, that true happiness, that true freedom of time and all, वो तो दिखता ही नहीं है.
Ah, so you actually said a very important thing, you know, that do you want to be rich or do you want to be wealthy? Okay, because rich का कोई definition नहीं है, right? Today I may want 10 crores, tomorrow I will want 100 crores. If I have 100 crores, I'll want, you know, 200 crores. So it's a never ending. Okay, because rich doesn't have a number. Okay. But wealth, I think means, and what it means to me is having enough money, which, you know, makes me think that, bas, abhi, you know, I'm happy with my life. So, you know, when that's when you know, okay, now you maybe want to slow down with your work, you want to spend more time with your, you know, family, do, you know, follow your dream, follow your passion. Okay, maybe not everybody has a liberty to do that in their 20s. So they have to slog and, you know,
Hmm.
work a lot till they're in their 40s, 50s, whenever that age could be from person to person. But wealth is now knowing, okay, now this money is enough for me. I am wealthy. I may be not very rich, but I'm happy. I have the freedom. I can get up in the morning and decide how Morgan Housel says, you know, that I can decide what I, you know, what do I do with my time? Time is my real wealth. किसको मिलना है, क्या करना है? I think that is real wealth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yet, it all boils down to what people think is in numbers. कि 10 crore, 20 crore, 50
Exactly.
crore, 500 crore.
Exactly. So
But
somebody
it's
asked me
it's
this recently that what is your number? What is your target? And I actually had to tell that person that actually I've never thought about it myself because I don't have any number in mind. I only know that you know, I have saved enough money which will help me in my retirement. I have saved money for my daughter's education, and these are my two major goals. बाकी तो क्या अभी नंबर कैन बी एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग वेल्थ क्रिएशन के नाम पे वी कैन हैव एनी नंबर इन आवर हेड बट am I wealthy? I would say I'm wealthy because I'm happy with whatever is available.
I think that's interesting because I'm happy. वो happiness का तो definition ही निकल गया है.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Especially in metro cities, वो happiness and wealth and being rich का तो मेरे को कोई I don't find a common connection because we're living in a very depleted infrastructure where it takes around 1.5 hours to reach our office. So basically, 2-3 घंटा तो traveling. So out of 24 hours, we are putting in more than 10% of the time just in to and fro from the office.
Yeah,
And most of the time is spent inside the office and then back home. And then there's so much, um, you know, stress of not being able to live that life very freely and very happily.
correct, correct.
But ये क्यों ऐसा होता है मतलब there is one thing now so this is just a segue this is just because something I just thought about it and I've been thinking about it since a long time कि why do why don't people buy their offices near their homes? And so what is that joy that they feel in or exhilaration in traveling? Because especially in Mumbai, we see this, right? People will travel from Thana to Churchgate or go from Borivali to CST. It's really tiring.
Yeah, yeah.
And why would they? I mean, are there not enough opportunities for them? What happens?
I think it is maybe opportunities more. I think it's more to do with affordability also, or your structure. So, like in my case, I stay at Lower Parel. My office is at Santa Cruz. Now, I would love to move my office to Santa Cruz, to Lower Parel, but my partner, I have a business partner, and he just stays bang opposite office. So one of us has to compromise. So either,
Uh,
so it's not about moving office, and it's also about moving house.
mm,
Okay, so it's not always opportunity. It's also more of your, and it's also affordability for a lot of people, right? You may, because first of all, see, the first priority for anybody who's an entrepreneur is to build their own. Forget anybody. The overall first priority for people is to build a house. Okay,
mm.
so much money is needed to build a house only. Then you want to then build an office. So I think it's more to do with affordability. Otherwise, why I think everybody would love to just have a house near their office. It saves so much time, energy. Your quality of life improves dramatically.
So, see, apna to fir bhi we because we travel in a
Hmm.
very,
Hmm.
let's say comfortable way.
Right.
But folks who are traveling from, in the Mumbai local trains, for example, or
Hmm.
even when you must be seeing when you come back from Santa Cruz and you see the opposite side,
Yeah, yeah, train.
जो बोरीवली जा रहा है वो उसको 2-3 घंटा.
Ah,
What I mean, how much time will they be able to then give to their family or have a very powerful,
absolutely.
life in terms of money?
Yeah, yeah. No, so you're absolutely correct. And I think we have all these examples all around us where people travel so much every day. And in fact, people go as maybe sometimes to different cities also 3, 4 times in a week just for work. But that's how it is, right? Because let's say I have a cousin who has a factory. Abhi Bombay mein to there's no place to have a factory. So you have to only travel. So it all depends on, what kind of industry and work you are in, basis which you can make that decision. So he has a factory in Vasai, but he doesn't want to shift from Churchgate to Vasai to stay. So see, because it's not now here. There's no affordability, right? He can easily go from Churchgate to Vasai, but it's also a prestige, because it's like the area which you stay defines you, right? So there are a lot of other things apart from money. See, because for money, somebody's security, okay, and for somebody, it's recognition and prestige also. So many other factors, I think, which decide this for you.
Very true, very true. And in fact, the other thing that I generally see is especially, the women in workforce now. So these are the people who are traveling a couple of hours every day to and fro, at least in Bombay. Bangalore, maybe it's the same thing. मतलब, हाँ भाई, एकदम the same thing in Delhi. So you see them actually spending 2 hours in traveling to and fro from home, 8 hours in the office, so 10 घंटे गए. Yet when they will go home, they will do all the household work, everything. And when it comes to planning for investments and finances, they're somehow excluded. ये मेरे को strange लगता है.
Yeah, he actually, India mein nahi, all over the world, this numbers, is the same. Okay. It just is little amplified in certain countries. Because, if you just think, of the role of men and women, okay, it's always considered that men will get money. Okay, they are the main, like the main members of the family. They will get money home. They will run the they'll provide for the family basically. Okay, what is the women's role? Okay, to take care of the family, cook. Okay, anybody who's ailing, unka dhyan rakho, take care of the children. So that's how traditionally roles have been divided only for men and women. Okay, so it is very difficult for women to come to this part of the table because they have accepted and learned it this way that this is not my job because there's somebody else who's already taken it up as a job. पहली बात. Okay. Secondly, because they don't have that much knowledge, they're also scared that what if I, turn tables and I come the other side of the table and I start, talking about money and all. Okay. I may make mistakes. I may be asked that, that why you even asking about this? You do your job and I will do my job, right? So these are the reasons, where we still see women who have not, taking money matters in their hands. But having said that, things are changing. Okay. We are seeing drastic changes happening all over, and I have seen it myself in the last 20 years of my career. So changes are there. Okay. Also, I think women have actually, they're actually not bad with money. They just don't know that they are good with it because they have been managing household budgets since time memorial, right? So कर ही रहे हैं. It's just that they are not taken seriously. But times are changing, and I think maybe next time we talk about this subject, the numbers will talk something else.
Absolutely. I'd love to, talk to you, and especially in this sort of a format with you that time when the numbers have actually changed, and we'll be then discussing, how the transition happened and what were we thinking back then.
Absolutely.
Secondly, there was a very interesting angle you had shown me. In fact, it changed my way of thinking. जब ये आपने ये बोला था कि let's say when I am investing as a man in the family, 2-3 लाख रुपए का नुकसान हो गया. It's not a very big deal. मतलब it's part of the काम. मतलब चलता है. बिजनेस सीख रहे हैं तो 2-5 लाख रुपए इधर उधर होता है. But if it's a woman in any family, it'll be literally मतलब वो तो bonkers हो जाएगा वो चीज.
Because if you invest and you've made a 2-3 lakh rupee loss, okay, your spouse may not even know about it. Okay, whom are you answerable to? Nobody. Okay. But if your wife has done that, okay, definitely you will come to know that this has happened. So there is already one person you are accountable to. Okay. So ये ज्यादातर जगह पे यही होता है that who asked you to get into this, I'm doing this now. And I have a lot of examples of these kind of things happening with clients. So the wife is taking a better decision, she's actually making the right investments, and the husband, or forget the husband, even the father, okay, is still very traditional in approach, telling her to put everything only into FDs. Okay. So we can clearly see that she's been misguided from the family, but eventually she doesn't have the courage to go up and stand up and do what is right for her, because this is a very small part of the other things which are in her mind. So this happens many many times, that you are right but you can't stand up because this is not your priority. कि ठीक है, uh, at least I'm taken care of in the house, I'm not working, a lot of other things which are a deciding factor over here.
Especially, I've also felt, I was reading this book called Made in America by Sam Walton. So जो Walmart का owner है. And he said कि during dinner times, he used to tell his kids कि these are the debts that we have, this is the income that we have, this is the money that we made, and this is how we work. He was discussing a lot of money at the
Hmm.
dinner table with the kids. So the kids always believed that we may have money, so we may have a fancier truck or a bigger house, but we are constantly under debt, so we have to work very hard.
Correct.
Now, if I want to replicate this in my family ना, मेरे को तो पक्का लगता है ये लोग बाहर निकाल देंगे.
क्या कर रहे हो इतने सालों से?
I mean, they were like, no, it's and because in our culture we can't discuss money. It's like a taboo. Dinner table पे तो आप कैसे बात कर लोगे ये चीज?
Yeah. But I think, so think about it like this, okay? Let's say I'll again go to the example of my daughter, okay? If she comes and asks me suddenly, and she does that, Mama, how much do you make in a month? I don't want to tell her how much money I make in a month, okay? Because then she'll remove a percentage of that and tell me, okay, give me so much as pocket money. Okay, so I don't want to give her this amount. I don't want to give her this number only. Okay. But also I want to educate her about money and all. Okay. So I think a very good way to even speak to, maybe it could be your spouse or your children or anybody, is, in a story format, that, this is how I started my career and this is the amount of money I used to make at that point of time and how did I buy my house, or, what did I do when I, maybe lost my job or something like that. So if you talk about real life stories, and then that way you bring about the topic of money, either it's on the dinner table or with your children. I think it's a very, like a very conversational and an easier way to start a topic which is a taboo and then get everybody involved. So like I always, also I tell a lot of my women clients that I don't want you to go and, ask your, whoever is taking care of money in your house that, okay, today I have decided that I'm going to take this in my hand and please give me all the numbers and balance sheets and what is happening. That's not the right way also. All you want to do and you should do is just, be involved in conversations. Go with them to the financial advisors, understand what is happening. Do you have debts? Do you have money given to somebody, on interest, which is not accounted for? There are a lot of other things because we also have a big parallel economy in India. So just ask these very basic questions. I don't want you to just one fine day take complete control and take everything in your hands. No, but just be a part of conversation. Just be aware of what's happening around you, so that someday you will also be taken seriously, and then you will be also asked very important questions which may help shape up the family finances.
very interesting. ये हर बार मैंने बहुत जगहों पे देखा है कि so husband will never share whatever they have, and
Right,
suddenly something happens to them. Either they are incapacitated or sitting in a hospital or something like that.
right.
The woman is like, अभी तू जो मेरे को 20 साल लगा सीखने को, you have to learn quickly in 20 seconds and just get going.
Yeah, yeah.
They just don't know where the money is.
And it's very difficult, no? See, it's very difficult to change ourselves as we get older. So at that point of time, it is extremely difficult to learn all these things. And now with the way tech is moving, imagine if your and my mom has to suddenly one fine day, just learn how to manage money. It's very difficult if they've not done it all these years. So thoda thoda, if they start, just be a part of conversation. So like I generally tell all my clients that, please involve your spouses. So it's, I also tell the men, I also tell the female. So a lot of times when I have a lot of female clients. So I tell them also that why don't we, have this meeting on your, or this conversation with your husband. So because you are living together, your life goals are same, okay, your travel plans are same, your 90% of your life goals are same. So why are you both not involved in your financial decisions? Because again, as I said, financial decisions is not only about money. Okay, let's say somebody is thinking of buying versus renting a house. Okay, even if the husband is going to pay, whether it's buying or renting. Okay, but the wife's involvement is necessary in this decision, right? Whether she's okay to stay on rent, whether she's okay to buy a house and compromise on other things on life. Let's say if there's a cash flow issue. Okay, so I think if two people sit together and think about finances, life decisions, and then finances, and they talk this together to their financial advisor, things can be very smooth.
अरे उसमें तो वर्ल्ड पीस हो जाएगा, नोबेल प्राइज मिल जाएगा आपको if just two people can come together and talk
Yeah,
serious issue
yeah. No, no,
because you're just
but Janai, we've been able to do this. So day before also, I had a call with one couple, and they're like, "Arey, ye hai," but we both don't have time to discuss with each other on this. So I said, "Great, I will give you a common platform to come and discuss these things." So we actually connected that on Zoom. I was here, the husband was there, and the wife was there. Of course, both were all three of us different locations because everybody was working from. And we had so many conversations, and I was like, malab, these were things you should have discussed at home, malab, uh, but they're like, no, we don't have the time, and then there are arguments when we discuss this. So might as well discuss this in front of a neutral person, and then we actually read it, reach some conclusion. And I felt so nice, that wow, I felt like I'm in such a noble profession that I'm actually ensuring that, there is no divorce happening because I've helped them come to a conclusion on such a major topic.
I think Gajendra Bhai also know in one of our podcasts only when I was talking to him and he had said कि one of his clients was going for a divorce and he couldn't sleep at night. बोला यार हम लोग he was like हम लोग ये profession में हैं. And it was exactly the same thing. He just had to bring two people together,
Yeah,
talk about it. And those were the best part is he said that those were two accomplished professionals, medical professionals. They were not your average Joes like, how we are. So,
right.
especially, so where it's so hard. for them to have that sort of a conversation at home. Even the most accomplished professional in the world.
Yeah, yeah. So it's more difficult with them. See, because there's always, when you've done so good in life, there is always some bit of ego which comes in. Okay. B, you're also genuinely very busy. Okay. So time is a constraint, there is some ego. So it's very difficult to have that conversation, free flowing. And if two people have totally different things they want to do, so who is right and who is wrong? And like not always in life there is, a right or wrong. Like even in this rent versus buy thing which I spoke, I don't think anything is right or wrong, right? It's only on what you want and what works for you. So I live on rent, but I don't say that, buying a house is wrong. Okay, this is what works for me, and maybe I may even buy the same house tomorrow. So but you need somebody who can just come and understand your point of view. And that's why chief emotions officer. So I want to understand the person's point of view. Even if they are wrong, I want to understand what they are thinking, and then come to a conclusion rather than just saying, okay, this is what the numbers say and this is what you should do.
I completely agree with you on that. तो completely agree. मेरे को तो इतना सारा conversation भी याद आ रहा है ना when I'm talking to you of what we tend to go through is just crazy because sometimes they want to invest, they want to understand, and we tend to get these queries after the meeting is ended. कि अच्छा मेरे को उनके सामने ये वाला इसके लिए नहीं पूछना था ताकि he or she doesn't feel that I didn't understand it. So they'll just nod. After that, an email comes and you are just trying to make sense of things. Okay, why didn't you ask that time?
Correct,
I
correct.
agree. It's that it actually stops them from having that sort of a powerful life. And most of the times, it's not just investments. I've even felt or seen, and I still see in my friends, they don't even discuss the nature of experiences that bring them joy. So, किसी को vacations पसंद है, किसी को walking पसंद है, किसी को लॉन्ग ड्राइव्स पसंद है. And everybody is just trying to accommodate each other and just trying to be kind. फिर एक दिन वो फॉर्म फूटता है and then you're asked to mediate in the whole thing. तो पता
Correct.
चलता है कि बात तो इतना ही था.
इतना ही था. Yeah, yeah. Very small tribal things. I think because we all talk lesser to, I think we talk more to gadgets and I think non-living things than with people around us. So maybe if,
Mm.
like I do this, at least 1 hour of my day, I am without my phone. So if I go down, in the night with a walk with my husband, I leave the phone at home purposely. Otherwise, somebody will call, and specifically if it's a client, I will definitely speak to him. Okay, because I don't want to lose business. And that's how Indians are, right? We work at any hours, but when we go abroad, we see 6 baje store closing means store closing. Okay. So this is what I do, and people can have their own ways, but maybe like if we can just keep the gadget away for us for some time and spend more time with our
Mm.
friends, our family, uh, I don't think these kind of issues will come up only because and that's when you can have conversations about life, money, children, what is disturbing you. Then there might not be depression, there might not be so many other problems in life.
I
So
think the relationships themselves are not going very deeper. So where you can have that conversation around money on a very free flowing basis.
precisely, precisely. Because you're not conversing only with each other, no? In the same
Mm.
house, people will send a, WhatsApp message to each other that, please come out and I have this work. Well, why can't you just get up and go to the other room and talk? So many benefits. A, you have a person, face to face. You get instant reply. You have some steps which are counted. We all are now very conscious on the number of steps we are taking every day. So
Yeah.
so there are so many benefits of just, moving up and going and talking to somebody, then, like on a WhatsApp in the same house. And I think even you must have observed people just texting each other in the same house. Uh, so, so I think if you live your life this way, your relationship with money also improves because, everybody's in sync with each other. Problem is only when you're hiding things and, you're not mentally stable yourself. So how are you going to have a stable relationship with money?
Great, I've seen this कि रात को 11 11:30 बजे चुपके से एक स्विगी का ऑर्डर जाता है, एक जोमेटो ऑर्डर जाता है, खाना आ जाता है, and that food is quietly taken to the room,
Correct.
and the what do you call the dead body of the food, जो उसका डब्बा है, is buried so well कि nobody understands कि ये मंगाया है कि नहीं मंगाया.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually adding so much. I mean, it's actually adding to the spending part so much more. Ki
Yeah, yeah.
there are some conversations I was having with. I mean, we also had one conversation. Then I was also asking some of my other friends in our industry, and उन लोगों ने भी यही बोला कि फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं तो अभी ऐसा हो रहा है कि स्विगी जोमेटो का जितना पैसा हम महीने में डाल रहे हैं उससे कम ही बचा पा रहे हैं. सो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में उतना नहीं जा रहा. सो आई मे बी स्पेंडिंग 30,000 a month on Zomato or Swiggy,
Correct.
barely making 10-15,000 rupees in investments. क्योंकि उतना
Correct.
ही बचता है लास्ट में.
करेक्ट नहीं
होना
ये
उसका रिवर्स चाहिए.
होना चाहिए. तो माइट एज वेल इसके लिए व्हाट पीपल कैन डू. ओके.
हम्म.
जैसे तो लेट्स अज्यूम अगर ईएमआई है. ओके. तो ईएमआई तो भरना ही है. ओके. सो तो लोग क्या करते हैं सैलरी आता है देन दे जनरली कीप द ईएमआई टू थ्री डेज ओनली आफ्टर व्हेन सैलरी गोज टू इंश्योर दैट दिस इज समथिंग आई कैन नॉट डिफॉल्ट ऑन. So also make your investment also as your EMI. So if you're doing an SIP, that will be your first priority. So first pay your future self. First your money should go for SIP so that whatever is left, then you can again, spend guilt free. So my growth
Hmm.
bucket is what I've taken care of first. So then, I know whatever is left is all for my joy bucket.
True.
Because you can't tell people, that you don't spend so much on Swiggy. That is the right thing to do. But I think only when their health deteriorates or something, they will learn their lessons themselves. And again, talking of Gen Z, okay, this is not a generation where whom you can preach because you're not open to suggestions. Okay. Only if some icon whom they are following does something, then they will learn from that person, or they will learn from from their own friends or from their own experiences. So
नहीं, पर अपन जेनजी को क्या ही बोलेंगे. मिलेनियल्स आर आल्सो डूइंग द सेम थिंग. सो आई
yeah, yeah,
what to even tell them when
exactly.
it's the people also in their 40s and 50s having these guilt uh, free food sort of things. And
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and the first part is the sedentary lifestyle. तो अभी तो समझ आ नहीं रहा है. बट वन फाइन डे बिग हॉस्पिटल बिल कम्स, इंश्योरेंस कंपनी बोलेगा हम तो 20-25% दे पाएंगे, इससे ज्यादा तो यू डोंट हैव द कवर. एंड देन अगेन योर 20 years of compounding just goes to zero.
Absolutely, absolutely.
तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि डिवोर्स तो ठीक है, मतलब वो तो जब भी होगा तभी होगा, पर एक स्टेबल रिलेशनशिप में भी आदमी खुद का फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस खो देगा इफ दे आर व्हाट द एंटायर सोसाइटी इज प्रोजेक्टिंग one thing of a marriage not going well, so that is okay, let them do it. But the thing that they are missing out sometimes, I feel, is this crazy hunt for food and then go to the hospital, spend all your money there, come back and start again.
Right.
मैं शिवाजी पार्क में देख रहा था. I was just walking, and within a 1 kilometer radius I must have seen every fourth or fifth shop to be a food shop.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I stay in Lower Parel, so I'm surrounded with restaurants around me. And it's like this now because now we are so used to also in a global culture. It's not possible to make everything which you eat in restaurants at home, right?
Hmm.
And this is what is the problem, right? You're bored of eating the same thing, kuch naya chahiye, and you step out and you have so many naya options. So it's not that you are running somewhere to, eat something, but the food is coming to you because you could see it all around you. So then how do you stop yourself, Uh,
Yeah.
that's the issue.
So just think about it. So, I mean, you don't even need to think about it. You just need to look at, your daughter, and let's say, 5-10 years down the 5-6 years down the line, when she'll start working, she'll be a fresher. Her first salary will come in.
Right.
Or the list of उन लोगों के खर्चे compared to what money they will be able to save. We
Right.
might tell them कि हाँ चलो आप पहले सेव करो बाद में खर्चा करो. I
हाँ.
don't think that's going to happen.
नो सो इसलिए अभी से आदत डालना है ना. So
Mhm.
what I'm trying to do when for my daughter, I've already, planted that seed. Okay. Now whether she follows it or no, only time will say. Okay. But even today, she has her own investments. She, from whatever pocket money I give her, whatever money she makes, on birthdays and Holi and Diwali and all, she saves some part of it. She invests into your mutual funds. She has a short-term fund for her shorter needs. She has a long-term fund for her higher education. Maybe those amounts may not be enough, but the seeds are sowed so that when the time comes, when she actually starts earning, okay, she'll be better off because there is something she's learned and she's seen how this money has helped her. So, this Saturday, I did a session with certain young professionals. They have just started working and they are one of my colleagues' friends. And I was very happy to see that there was this one female. It's just been 2 months she's working. She finished her graduation and she's like, okay, I'm following the 50-30-20 rule that and she must have picked this up somewhere from some social media that 50% is my expense, 30% is my I think 30% she was putting aside for her higher education which she plans to do 2 years down the line, and 20% she's putting aside for her long term goals. So I was like, wow, matlab, which means that you're saving 50% of what you're making, which is, excellent at this age. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I was very happy to see that, when somebody so young is actually talking about this and doing that because, first salary,
Mm.
they were not making that much money, but she was able to do that. So I think somewhere if you sow the seeds earlier in life, uh, you will have these three buckets which I spoke about. Maybe percentage may be different. So that
And
is
what about those जिनके लिए वो ये privilege नहीं रहा है that they have not been able to talk about money? So naturally, when they come in high paying jobs, their first inclination is to spend money.
absolutely. So I think so when somebody comes to me now who's just started working, okay, first 2-3 months I tell them also you spend. Because see suddenly you've got money and you've got so many things which you want to do. 2-3 महीना spend करो, okay.
Hmm.
क्या होगा ना, this how much will you also spend immediately, right? So it's like something which you really want, okay, immediately. Dhire dhire, the need for that thing also gets lower, right? So 2-3 महीना you spend, okay. Eventually you will also get serious because even your HR will ask what is your investment proof. You will start understanding, okay, I also need to make investments. Maybe if they're lucky they will get to attend some sessions which you and I do. So I think that little bit awareness if it comes, okay, it's not so difficult because the information is available. As an industry, we are doing so much work in educating people, right? Amphi is doing. There are so many people who are running amazing podcasts who are, basically educating people every day. So it's also not uncommon to see very young people also start it themselves. Maybe they might be just doing it themselves on an app like Grow or Zerodha. पर कर रहे हैं. So because education है.
So what should be the red flags that they should be, be very conscious about? कि ये चीज तो avoid करनी है क्योंकि there is education, there is platform, everything.
Right. I think the first biggest red flag is, because there is education and there is platforms, there is also a lot of misinformation. So avoid, products and people who say, things like guaranteed, safe, quick money, who's promising you something which is too good to be true. This is the first red flag which you need to avoid because this is where people get trapped very very fast. Okay. Second is not actually a red flag, but just because your friend or colleague is doing something doesn't mean you do it. Okay. Do a little bit of your research or take help. Okay. There are a lot of people available who can give right guidance, but just don't follow the herd. That sab kar rahe hai, so I'm doing this. Like 2 years back everybody was buying crypto. So I have so many people who came and said, okay, I just have opened my account in WazirX and I'm doing this because my friend did that and they made so much money, so I want to do it. But do you even understand what you're doing? Okay. So if these two red flags, matlab, are avoided, then I think, it's not so difficult. And also, if you're starting early, so you don't have much to lose. So you start, you might make mistakes, you learn from your mistakes. Okay, so when you actually have larger amounts to invest, you've done it and learned everything. So now you're ready, to go on to the next leap.
True. No, so it's very interesting when you spoke about crypto and all. So
Hmm.
this is my view. Either conversation or the experience of wealth is not changing across generations. It is just the financial products that are changing.
Absolutely.
Or the wealth ka experience is changing. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about
No,
it.
no, the products are changing for sure. Okay. But the conversations are not changing because we are not having the right conversations. Okay. Most of the time, see, it's like how it is, right? People just talk about, I put so much money in so much in this share and it became so much. How often do people say, okay, I invested in these products for this financial goal and I'm approaching that goal? We don't have these kind of conversations only. So I think it's our responsibility to talk about these things with people. Right. So
Hmm.
okay, so somebody, like let's say a client is just coming to me, I'm saying I want to start with an SIP of 20,000, for example. Okay. I'm not saying
Mhm.
that, okay, you want to start with an SIP, chalo ye sab funds hai, isme aap paisa dalo. Okay. We are having a lot of candid conversations that why 20,000? What is your end goal? क्या हो जाने वाला है 5 साल बाद? Do you have an emergency corpus, in case this market doesn't move for next 5 years? So do you have enough insurance policy for you? मतलब हम इतनी सारी चीजें क्लाइंट की समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं before even going to that product, for a 20,000 SIP. Because these conversations are more important than selecting a product. But people still focus a lot on products, right? Which, like today, anybody you talk to will say, I want to invest only into gold and silver because that is what has given maximum returns. Uh, a year back, people wanted to invest globally, and the product keeps changing, and conversations around that keep changing. But वो recency bias है, and we've learned a lot about these biases that it always going to be there. So we maybe cannot change the world, but we can try and educate more and more people whom we can.
Absolutely. So with that, I think क्या हो गया 1 घंटा ऑलमोस्ट होने आया है. So I've taken up, almost all your time, and you have another meeting to go to. So before that, I really want to have one important question that I feel, E- what is that one conversation that you want to, have with somebody who's anxious about money? And अगर किसी को पैसे का एंजाइटी हो या कुछ हो, whatever it can be, if maybe I have enough or I may not have enough, I don't know. What is it that you want to tell them? And, also to the listeners who will be listening to this conversation going forward.
Right. So I think what I can do is I may not be able to, settle their anxiety immediately, okay, because anxiety takes time to come down. But what I can do is help them understand what they have, okay, and understand the reason of the anxiety. Okay. So if somebody is very anxious because they feel that they don't have enough, okay, first of all, have you even taken stock of what all you have? Okay. Most of the time, people don't have a stock only. You ask somebody, what is your net worth? What is your asset allocation? हमको पता ही नहीं है, but then why are you anxious? Right? So first of all, at least take stock of what you have and then try to understand whether this anxiety, is really needed. So, ये steps से if you start, no, I think half of the work is done. Make a list of what you have. Try to see, okay, now, next 2 3 years of whatever my needs are. Okay, is this going to be enough? If not, what can I do next? Do I need to work harder? Do I need to do double shifts? Do I need to reduce my expenses? There is a solution to everything. But for that, you first need to know what is the complete problem. So that is what I would tell somebody, that please understand what is the complete problem, list down, speak to somebody that, why is this anxiety coming from, and find solutions. I don't think it is so difficult. Maybe difficult for somebody. It's easy to say it's not difficult, but there could be some solution which can come out of that.
Absolutely. I think talking to somebody, talk to the right financial advisor,
Yeah.
go express your money anxieties to them.
Yeah, talk to your family also that I'm having this
हम्म,
anxiety. You will come to a
फैमिली की वजह से ही होता है एंग्जाइटीज तो मतलब
हाँ
ऐसे भी
नहीं कभी ऐसा भी होता है ना that let's say you're not doing you've left your job I know somebody who left his job उसका खुद का startup start किया that was not doing good. Or another example I'll give you, a friend of mine, she had a separation, got married again second time she had a separation. So these are certain things, matlab you're not comfortable talking to your family also about it then. So talk to your family, talk to a financial advisor. So I think if this combination comes in, I think there is a solution to everything.
Absolutely. I think that's a brilliant way to, close this podcast today. We've touched upon so many topics and it was so seamless because, the way you were answering and it made my job so much easier. We touched upon, the emotions behind money, the budgeting, the guilt, the thought process that goes into, why people don't talk about money in the family,
Right,
the angle of women's financial literacy. So, and of course, Gen Zs, millennials, and I think we really touched upon a lot of things today. And
right.
I'm very sure the person who sees this podcast to the end will understand the kind of wisdom that you've shared with us today. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh, it is just my pleasure. And as I said, we just need to educate more and more people. That's the biggest social service we can do being in this industry.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you to all the
Thank you.
listeners.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.